Spencer Kanoki, and this is Fools of AQ, a show where I take the internet's most burning questions and give you an answer that'll make you the smartest person at your next high-rise dinner party. On today's episode, the coin toss of terror. You know the story. Someone at the top of the Empire State Building, 1,250 feet up, flicks a penny over the edge. Down it tumbles 102 floors, over 1,000 feet of pure accelerating metal. And somewhere on the sidewalk below, an unsuspecting New Yorker is about to get absolutely flattened by a tiny copper disc traveling at, well, let's just say some seriously dangerous speeds, right? Well, this myth is so ingrained in our collective consciousness that it's made appearances in movies, TV shows, and countless conversations around actual dinner tables. People whisper about it. Parents warn their kids. The Empire State Building probably gets asked about this at least a dozen times a day. Dropping a penny from the observation deck could kill someone. It could embed into concrete. It could shatter a skull. But here's the thing. Is any of that actually even true? We'll start by talking about what actually happens when you drop a penny from the top of a skyscraper. To understand this myth, we need to talk about terminal velocity, and I promise it's way cooler than it sounds. When an object starts falling, it accelerates downward because of gravity. Pretty straightforward, right? But here's the catch. As a penny picks up speed, it runs into air resistance, also called drag. Think of it like this. Imagine running through a swimming pool versus running through the air. Air is obviously easier, but the faster you go, the more resistance you feel. It's the same principle. As the penny falls faster and faster, the air resistance pushing up against it gets stronger and stronger. Eventually, something amazing happens. The upward force from air resistance exactly balances the downward force of gravity. When that equilibrium is reached, the penny stops accelerating. It's reached its maximum velocity, its terminal velocity. It's not going any faster. It's never going to get faster. It's done accelerating. Now, here's where the penny myth really starts to fall apart. A penny reaches terminal velocity after only about 50 feet of falling. We're talking barely 20 stories. Everything above that, irrelevant. Whether it's falling from the 50th floor or the 102nd floor, it doesn't matter. The penny is already maxed out. And how fast is that maximum speed? Somewhere between 25 and 50 miles per hour. That's what physicist Louis Bloomfield from the University of Virginia found when he conducted his famous experiments on this exact topic. He even let pennies hit him directly, and you know what? They bounced off like large raindrops or small hailstones. No bruises, no injuries, just small disappointments hitting his body. Now, you might be thinking, Hunter, 25 miles per hour, that's still pretty fast. People get hit by cars at that speed. Well, that's true, but there is a crucial difference. A car has mass, a lot of mass. It has momentum. A penny weighs about 2.5 grams. That's roughly 1/10 the weight of a bullet. Plus, the penny's flat circular shape means it tumbles as it falls. It's not sleek and aerodynamic as a car is. It's not a dart, it's not a bullet, it's more like a leaf. In fact, that's a perfect comparison. Bloomfield actually said that pennies fall, quote, like falling leaves, unquote, which is the exact opposite of what you'd want if you were trying to create some sort of deadly projectile. All that tumbling, all that flutter, that's caused by the penny's aerodynamic instability, meaning it's terrible at moving through the air in an efficient way. And that's exactly what saves us all from penny-related casualties. The Mythbusters actually tested this back in 2003. They fired a penny at terminal velocity, 65 miles per hour, directly into concrete, asphalt, and even ballistics gel heads with human skulls. Nothing. No penetration, no damage. Even when they rigged up a rifle to fire pennies at supersonic speeds, and we're talking hundreds of miles per hour, the penny still couldn't penetrate concrete or a realistic dummy skull. For comparison, they also fired a real 6.5 millimeter bullet into the same materials, and it went right through the skull. A penny? Not even a dent. Now, there is a grain of truth at its core. It's not about single pennies, but if you took a roll of 50 pennies stacked together and dropped that from the Empire State Building, that's 125 grams, about a quarter of a pound, that could theoretically cause some serious damage. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Heavier objects and more aerodynamic shapes, like a ballpoint pen or a bowling ball, wouldn't reach terminal velocity nearly as quickly. They'd keep accelerating for much longer, and they'd hit the ground a lot faster. A ballpoint pen drop from the Empire State Building could seriously injure someone. But a single penny, it's physically impossible. And here's one more thing that the Mythbusters discovered. When they visited the actual Empire State Building, they realized there's another factor preventing penny casualties. The building itself creates updrafts, wind currents flowing up the sides of the structure. Those updrafts could actually blow a penny sideways or even back up. So even if the penny somehow gained lethal velocity, which it won't, the architecture of the building might prevent it from reaching the street anyway. Now, there's one final scenario where a penny could actually be lethal if we're dropped in a vacuum. No air, no resistance, no friction. In that case, a penny would fall at a constant acceleration of 32 feet per second squared, and by the time it hit the ground from the Empire State Building's height, it would be traveling at about 210 miles per hour. And at that speed, even a penny could penetrate skin. But fortunately, New York City is not a vacuum, as we're all aware. The atmosphere is doing exactly what it's supposed to, which is protecting us from these tiny falling little copper discs. So, could a penny dropped from a skyscraper actually be lethal? The answer is a resounding no. It's one of those myths that persists because it sounds plausible on the surface. Tall building, fast-falling object, potential disaster, but the moment you dig into the physics, it completely falls apart, literally and figuratively. What we're actually looking at is a perfect demonstration of how real-world physics works. Terminal velocity, air resistance, mass, and aerodynamics all conspire to turn a potentially terrifying scenario into something completely harmless. The Empire State Building observation deck is safe, New York City sidewalks are safe, and your skull is definitely safe from penny-related injuries. So, the next time someone brings up this myth at a dinner party, you can confidently tell them the truth. That penny isn't falling like a bullet, it's falling like a leaf. So remember, if you get hit by a penny in New York, you're a lot more likely to find a good story than a bruise. Thank you so much for listening to Fool's FAQ. Feel free to leave a 5-star rating wherever you get your podcasts, as it also helps new listeners discover the show. For more fascinating answers to your burning questions, subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and always stay curious.